The new political appointees that are already showing up at agencies will need help from the career people who've worked at those agencies for years. Those career officials will be the difference between success and failure for the Biden administration's programs. Robert Shea is National Managing Principal for Public Policy at Grant Thornton, former Associate Director at the Office of Management and Budget. Robert, welcome. It's good to see you again. What exactly should careers be doing on day 1, 2, and tomorrow, day 3, to set these political appointees for success?
Thanks, Francis. Well, first of all, they should be uh, uh, getting their stamina ready because, as you know, when new political appointees come into agencies, they're eager to hit the ground running, and they think that it's a sprint. So, employees should be, ready to work hard, ready to work long hours during the week, over the weekends, really to make themselves indispensable for whatever the needs the political appointees have. They're not only got an aggressive agenda, but they're learning, where the bathrooms are, although we're a lot virtual these days, what kind of equipment to use, what the rules and protocols are in the agencies. They've got a lot to catch up on over and above the agenda they're trying to implement aggressively.
Is there a role for the careers to kind of temper that mentality that it is a sprint? Because I understand both sides of that coin. The politicals are coming in, and probably most of them understand that they have an expiration date stamped on their foreheads 18 to 24 months from today. And the careers understand, I was here a long time before this person came. I'm going to be here after this person leaves probably, and there is a marathon to run. Is there kind of a tempering function that the career can or should play?
Sure, there is. That's a delicate balance, though. No political appointee wants to be told to slow down, that they've got a long way to go. Likewise, almost the worst thing a career employee can tell a new political appointee is, we've tried that before and it won't work. Their job is to say, here are some of the pitfalls we've confronted in the past. Let's try to work together to figure out a way to overcome those in the future so you'll be more successful than others who may have tried this in the past.
One of the things that we're seeing, a common theme, at least in my observation so far, is a lot of these people that are going in at the non-Senate confirmed levels, the second level, the third level down, are people who were just in these agencies 4 years ago. Is that an advantage, or is that a disadvantage given what could have changed in an agency in 4 years?
Well, if you're a career employee, it depends on how you treated them when they were there the first time. I'm kidding a little bit, but I think it's an enormous advantage for the Biden administration to have on the ground people who've been out of government and have gotten the benefit of that experience, but who are now back in knowing what they knew when they were there in the past.
What exactly is the career person's role 6 months from now, a year from now, in doing the kinds of things that we're talking about? We've covered kind of what happens in the next week. What's that look like further down the road?
Well, hopefully the boundaries between a political appointee and a career civil servant have sort of dissolved, and that you've got a real partnerial culture emerging between those two workforces. You got to be careful. It's a civil servant's job not to be political, to provide objective advice, but hopefully you've got a set of mutually shared goals that you're working towards. You got a plan in place to accomplish them, and you're in the trenches together.
What causes those boundaries to dissolve, though? Is it anything different than a typical colleague relationship, or is the dynamic different because of the nature of the political person on one side of that equation and the career person on the other side of the equation?
Well, I think it's a function of trust emerging. I recall a lot of folks trying to give me a wink that they were aligned to my political point of view. And that sort of, you know, leaves a bad taste in your mouth as people try to inappropriately show that they're more loyal than others. On the other hand, being objective, providing candid advice, demonstrating your expertise in specific areas, helping the new political appointees overcome some of these challenges that will emerge, those things build up trust and dissolve the barriers between political and career federal employees.
The candid advice component is something that you and I have talked about before. You brought that up on the Fed Heads podcast that we do together not too long ago. The fact that the careers, when you were at OMB, kept you from making some mistakes by telling you either that's not legal or it's not feasible. I know you don't want people to get into we've done that before, we tried that before and it didn't work situation, but there's a terrific function for guardrails for these people to play, right?
There absolutely is. And this came up in the context of Schedule F when the previous administration tried to set up a new schedule that dissolves some protections for the career civil service. You want people to be able to provide candid, sometimes tough love advice without fear of reprisal. Those protections, those civil service protections, sort of give you confidence that those folks are telling it to you straight. And you really want to preserve the ability of career civil servants to provide you that kind of expertise, that kind of advice, as tough as it may be to take.
All right, 30 seconds left, Robert. What would you watch as all of this unfolds to see the direction in which the Biden administration will go?
Well, it's very interesting to see who's been appointed in an acting capacity from the career civil service. It shows an enormous amount of trust by the Biden administration in those people who are on the field today. How those appointments pan out, like you say, which previous administration officials emerge as senior leaders in the Biden administration, that's going to be very important to watch.
Robert Shea, thanks as always, my friend.
Thank you, Francis.